Good day. We are Group 1 and we're going to talk about Socrates. So, who is Socrates? Socrates was born in 469 BCE in Athens, Greece. Before devoting his life to philosophy, he was first a soldier and then a stone cutter, as his father is a stone worker as well, while his mother is a midwife. He was considered as the first martyr of education, knowledge, and philosophy, as he died for his beliefs and was the teacher of another famous philosopher, Plato. A famous quote stated by Socrates was "Noti suton," meaning know thyself. A person's goal in life is to obtain happiness, and such goal motivates us to act towards or avoid things that could have negative repercussions in our lives. As such, by fully knowing oneself, a person will be able to achieve happiness, meaning to find for yourself what your purpose of living in this world is, so we may be able to truly understand each other.
Philosophy consists of two words, philo, which means love, and Sophie or Sophia, which means knowledge. It was philosophy that gave Socrates the unbending resolve to pursue the truth and challenge each of the widespread ideas that we take for granted in a society that is highly valued sentimental attachment and where bravery was revered on the battlefield, where preserving honor frequently required bloodshed. And he became well known and was regarded as the father of Western philosophy because of his use of Socratic method and concepts that trace a line from ancient Greece to present Western thought. Since Socrates didn't actually document his biography, everything we know about him comes from the writings of the people he influenced, most notably the student Plato, about whom we know the most.
True knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. Socrates posited that possession of knowledge is a virtue and that ignorance is depravity, that a person's acceptance of ignorance is the beginning of acquisition of knowledge. So, one must first have the humility to acknowledge one's ignorance so as to be able to know what are the lacking and what they need to know. The real knowledge is when you become aware of how little you actually know and how you were on the side of emotional assumptions while seeming to be smart. It is humble event that will alter how you interact and live forever. You'll always have the reason to be skeptical and leery of experts and other people who make claims to be knowledgeable. Socrates was put to death because he made everyone else answer for their arrogant mistakes by interrogating them, forcing them to admit their ignorance in front of others, and generally infuriating his entire nation, which is the city-state of Athens, to the point where they literally wanted him to put to death.
The Socratic method is a teaching and learning approach that involves questioning and dialogue to stimulate critical thinking and encourage learners to analyze ideas and concepts. This method is named after the Greek philosopher Socrates, who used it to engage his students in philosophical discussions and encourage them to examine their beliefs and assumptions. In the Socratic method, the teacher asks open-ended questions to promote student reflection, probe deeper into their understanding, and encourage them to consider alternative perspectives. It emphasizes the importance of inquiry, reflection, and active participation in the learning process rather than passive absorption of information. First, questioning the initial assumption. Start with a broad open-ended question that prompts the individual to clarify their initial assumptions or beliefs about the topic. Second, clarifying ideas. Ask follow-up questions to help the individual clarify their ideas and concepts related to the topic. The goal is to encourage deeper reflection and understanding. Third, exploring evidence and reasons. Encourage the individual to explore the evidence and reasons to support their beliefs or assumptions. Ask questions that prompt the individual to evaluate the validity and reliability of their evidence. Fourth, examining alternative perspectives. Encourage the individual to consider alternative perspectives or opposing viewpoints. This helps to broaden their understanding and consider new ideas. Fifth and last, reflecting on conclusions. Finally, asked the individual to reflect on their conclusions and evaluate their reasoning. This helped to promote critical thinking and encourage the individual to identify gaps in their understanding. Throughout the questioning process, it is important to remain non-judgmental and avoid imposing your own opinions or beliefs on the individual. The goal is to facilitate their own thinking and encourage them to arrive at their own conclusions based on their own evidence and reasoning.
Sadly, Socrates was accused of ruining the youth of Athens and being an atheist. In court, Socrates acted as his own attorney. Socrates demonstrated his endeavors to uphold morality and proper conduct with Athenians and refuted accusation that he was a sophist. But in true Socratic style, he didn't try to persuade the jury. Instead, he exposed how flawed their reasoning was, and after the jury found him guilty, they gave him the death penalty. At this period, convicted offenders in Athens might suggest an alternative to their sentences. Instead, Socrates humorously proposed that he be offered free dinners at the Prytaneum, a privilege reserved for the most esteemed Athenian. The jury, however, was not amused. But Socrates died without showing any sign of fear, as if to dramatically prove his point that he always followed the law. He drank the poisonous hemlock that would have been the instrument of his death voluntarily.